I'm the administrative arm of the department. I oversee all sorts of programming that the department does. And I'm responsible to the administration and reporting back to the administration about our faculty needs as well as wants, as well as our programmatic and faculty needs.
I'm an associate professor of American Indian Studies here at UNCP. I teach primarily the Introduction to American Indian Studies course. That's the basic introduction to the core concepts of American Indian Studies, Native Studies. I also teach a lot of Native American literature courses. Native literature is my area of expertise.
I'm the director of the Museum of the Southeast American Indian, and I'm also a member of the faculty of the American Indian Studies Department. I teach archaeology in North Carolina and American Indian health, and occasionally I teach video ethnography, which is a special topics course.
I am the program coordinator for the Southeast American Indian Studies program at UNCP. My job here is to oversee and take care of the daily operations of SAIS. That includes working with faculty in the American Indian Studies department, collaborating with other faculty and staff on the department, and just like I said, just taking care of some of the daily things that are associated with running the program.
The school was established in 1887 as a normal school, which is a term that means a teaching institution, and it was actually brought into being for American Indian people in this region and by American Indian people in this region so that Native people could become educators to teach Indian children in this region. There was no school at that time for Native students specifically, and because of that history over time, there's been a real emphasis on cultural education, cultural learning, understanding the Native peoples of the Southeast in particularly in our region.
Those initial courses were enough to create a program of American Indian Studies in 1972. And that was an important step for him to take, and it was a very early step in terms of creating American Indian Studies. It was something that very few campuses across the nation had done, and he decided that because of the very large population of American Indians here at UNCP, that UNCP needed an American Indian Studies department.
Our faculty has many different degrees. We combine that knowledge to talk about contemporary issues of Native peoples. We really want to focus in our major on not only the histories of Native peoples, but their contemporary experiences, circumstances for Native nations, both federally recognized tribes, state recognized tribes, non-recognized tribes, and let people know that Native peoples are still here. This is not a population that has vanished, and there's a lot of work to do to empower communities and help support their projects. So these are the kind of things that we focus on.
There are lots of dreams I have for the department. I dream of having a master's degree in American Indian Studies. A master's degree in American Indian Studies is something that I think is a natural progression of where we're going in terms of what we can offer American Indian and non-Indian students, an opportunity to learn more about their people. So the Southeast American Indian Studies program is new, but it's basically an umbrella program for the department as well as the museum, and then it has its own programming that arches across both of us and over us.
What SAIS does is it's built around establishing networks and relationships with a couple groups, and those groups are, of course, Native tribes throughout the southeastern United States. but also other folks to build relationship with include scholars across academia, because we want UNCP to be the premier hub for the research of Southeast American Indians. When we have folks who think about Southeastern natives, we want them to think UNC-Pembroke. Another group that we want to build close relationships with is other institutions of higher education and federal and state and tribal organizations, because with the resources that they have, that will allow us to do some of the programming and networking. We're working on establishing a digital archive and repository, and what that is, or what it will serve as, is a way to maintain historical documents that relate to Southeastern American Indians. That includes petitions for federal recognition, tribal legislation. It could include family photos. It also will include the papers of Dr. Jack Campese, a noted anthropologist, and also Arlinda Locklear, a Lumbee attorney who helped with Lumbee federal recognition. The archive and repository will be important because scholars doing research on Southeastern natives, we want to give them or provide them with documents that they would be interested in using to support their research. So that's one initiative we're going to be working on. We're also going to be working on an elder in residence program, and that will bring a tribal or academic scholar to campus who will spend a couple days here and work with our students, work with the campus community to kind of share their information and their knowledge. And that's information that students in the community may not be able to get in the classroom. So that's the great thing about the Elder in Residence program. We're also hoping in the future to become the school for Southeast American Indian Studies. Right now we're just a program, but in the future we want to become a standalone school like the School of Education, School of Business, and the College of Arts and Sciences. I think that being a school will give it a bit more permanency here on campus, but also raise the status of what we're trying to do here on campus.
We serve the public and educate the public and students and public school students through exhibits and other programs that we do.
The museum is more of a community and outreach side, with some academic portions to it, because Dr. Nick teaches within our faculty.
The development of the Southeast American Indian Studies program was the impetus for changing the name of the museum.
The name of the Native American Resource Center was changed partly to reflect, more accurately reflect its mission and also its connection to the Southeast American Indian Studies program. We want everything that we do here, we want it to focus on Southeast American Indians.
Expanding our reach into the Southeast, going along with our new name, Museum of the Southeast American Indian, we have begun outreach projects in Virginia and in South Carolina with tribes there, and we have plans to go farther and ultimately to visit with and try to work with tribes from Virginia to Louisiana and Florida, covering the entire Southeast. But for the first long time, our focus was entirely on North Carolina tribes. So reaching outside the state is an important thing to be looking for in the future. We have a project planned right now with Catawba in South Carolina, which will involve an exhibit of their artwork as well as a video project with them about their history and culture.
One is the Native American Speaker Series, in which we invite Native American speakers who usually folks who are in academia, who've published a publication, but we also host people who don't necessarily have a publication but are important to American Indian studies for what they do.
Or bringing in the 1491s. The 1491s are what IndianCountryToday.com called some of the funniest people in Indian country. It's a group of Native American comedians who perform throughout Indian country. They're very well known, and we consider it an honor and a privilege to have them.
So last night I learned that there is a student population, a native student population of 15% here at Pembroke, which I thought was really amazing because I go to a lot of schools and a lot of times the student population is like the national population of Indian people. So it's like 1%, maybe less. Visiting a school that has a lot of focus on Native people, I always really enjoy it because I know that for a lot of American Indian people nationally, it can be really difficult to navigate academia and to figure out where your place is in that. And so to come to a place like this where there's such a strong community of Native people who are all real comfortable here with each other is pretty astounding to me. And to have such literacy with American Indian culture and history is pretty cool.
Another event that we hold that's coming up this April is the Southeast Indian Studies Conference. It was founded in 2005, and it's the only national conference that focuses on Southeastern American Indians.
It tends to be very regional with a lot of local people, not only professors and academic people, but community people. It's a smaller conference, so there's a great opportunity for people to actually network at this conference, unlike some of the really huge national conferences that take place. So we all get an opportunity to hear new information, share this information with our students and local community, get to meet some new people, and that's something we all really enjoy.
So what we do basically is work together. There are all these little circles that come around and around together. We each have individual portions of the job that we have to do, and that academic side for the department is something that only the department does. The museum's portion in terms of community collaboration is something only the museum does. And then the Southeast American Indian Studies program does a lot of outreach in terms of the university and student engagement. And I think that we try to work collaboratively and prop each other up in terms of our programmatic work.
We often start collaborating by informal conversations because we know each other and a lot of us are friends here. So that's what starts to happen, and somebody has an idea and they'll say, you know, that sounds great. Who can we get to share the idea with? How can we get some funding for it? What do we need to make it happen? So, you know, it starts with relationship building.
Sometimes with the Gibbons Performing Arts Center, for example, for our storytelling event that we have every fall for public school students, we always coordinate with them. Some of our activities are coordinated with the American Indian Studies academic department. Some of them are coordinated with other offices as well on campus.
This is a department that offers students on our campus who may be from other places and unfamiliar with the Lumbee people and the Tuscarora people and other regional southeastern Native peoples an opportunity to learn about those heritages.
What we offer is an engagement with the Native American community here, and as well as throughout the state of North Carolina. So I think that that's an important part that we do as well, because American Indian Studies really wouldn't be here without our responsibility to Indian communities.